Alrighty, guys, continuing on from last week, where we talked a little bit about Star Wars Celebration. We talked about Star Wars Starfighter, the new Star Wars movie starring Ryan Gosling and directed by Sean Levy, coming in 2027. Also talked a little bit about Maul Shadow Lord. So really exciting stuff from Star Wars Celebration. And I'm happy that the things we are getting seem, because, who knows, Star Wars Starfighter could get canceled in the next month. I mean, based on the past track record of Lucasfilm. But, these things seem more concrete. They seem more like sure bets, like they're actually going to happen. And speaking of sure bets, well, I mean, again, anything can happen, but Ahsoka Season 2 has been confirmed to be filming right now, as we speak. As you were listening to the podcast, more than likely, Ahsoka Season 2 is beginning to film. And we got some more details about the second season of Ahsoka, which we had all suspected. It was all but confirmed that Ahsoka Season 2 was happening, but now we have some more details about what that might entail. A couple interesting things here, maybe most of these kind of no-duh things, but still, I think it's interesting to hear what they have to say about the second season as we move on. So, first of all, Ahsoka Season 2 filming right now, which means I would suspect it's going to track for an early, I would say spring 2026 release in about a year. And that will keep the streak alive of a Star Wars show coming out every year for the foreseeable future. Because I was wondering, after Andor Season 2, what was the next thing going to be? And it looks like the 2026 show is going to be Ahsoka Season 2. Along with that, and Hayden Christensen was at Star Wars Celebration. He was not there for a specific reason, it seemed, but I think all of us kind of guessed that if they were doing an entire panel on the first season of Ahsoka, the panel was called A Look Back on Ahsoka Season 1, but we all knew that it was going to be some kind of announcement for Ahsoka Season 2. And sure enough, Hayden Christensen is confirmed to be returning as Anakin Skywalker, which I love because I've made plenty of videos on the prequels, and I've done an entire rewatch of the Star Wars saga, and I didn't love the prequels. I thought the only one that I mildly enjoyed was Revenge of the Sith. I think that's a pretty universal opinion. Again, if you disagree, totally fine. But yeah, Revenge of the Sith was the only one that I really kind of enjoyed. And Hayden Christensen, in my opinion, was not good in the prequels. Now, whose fault was that? Script, directing, I don't know. Acting, I don't know. But he is a good actor. Case in point, what he did in both Obi-Wan and Ahsoka, even though I don't love those series on their own, I love the scenes that he's in because it's a redemption moment, right? It shows that is the Anakin Skywalker to me that I grew up with, closer to the Clone Wars Anakin Skywalker, the swagger, the sort of arrogance, but the kindness and darkness underneath. That's all there in the Anakin Skywalker we saw, especially in Ahsoka Season 1, Episode 5. So I'm very excited. We saw him return at the very end of Ahsoka Season 1 as a Force Ghost, and I'm sure that that's going to be a part of it. I'm also suspecting there are going to be some flashbacks as well. Maybe Ewan McGregor? I think they might give Ewan McGregor a call and be like, hey, let's do a kind of mini Clone Wars flashback, this time with all three of you. That would be really fun. The iconic trio of Anakin, Ahsoka, and Obi-Wan would be really, really cool. So that has been confirmed as well, which I'm very excited about. They also officially confirmed that Rory McCann, who was in Game of Thrones, is going to officially be replacing the late, great Ray Stevenson as Baylan Skoll. And so that was confirmed. It was apparently pretty emotional on stage for Dave Filoni. And you can totally understand why, right? When Chadwick Boseman, for example, passed away, I mean, we all mourned the loss. It was a horrific and tragic loss of Chadwick Boseman. But the people who felt it the most were the people who knew him. And Ryan Coogler, Kevin Feige, obviously aside from his friends and family, but Ryan Coogler, Kevin Feige, I'm sure they really felt that. And so Dave Filoni was talking about the fact that he didn't know how they could continue. And you might be saying, well, that's silly. It's just a kind of a side character. But, if you work with people, right, these are real people. And so you can totally understand what that meant for him. But they said he said he found a way in to honor the legacy and continue on. And he worked with the family as well to make sure it was right. And so I'm interested. I think Baylan was one of the best parts of Season 1, and so we'll see what happens there. Obviously, also, he hinted at the fact that Thrawn is going to be back, which obviously Thrawn is the villain. And surprisingly, I guess Admiral Akbar is going to be in this series. I think Admiral Akbar was kind of killed off really randomly in Episode 8. That was not one of my favorite parts of Episode 8, just the fact that they randomly killed off Admiral Akbar, even though I really like Episode 8 in general. But anyways, that's kind of random. And so, yeah, that's about it. That's all we got from Ahsoka Season 2. I mean, I think I will say, Ahsoka Season 1, right, not being one of my favorite things that Star Wars has ever done, because I think the story overall was kind of weird and kind of weak in general. But I do think that Ahsoka Season 2 has a lot of potential, because I think that if they can just tighten up the story a little bit and make sure it goes in a direction that feels overall pretty satisfying, and also stays true to the characters and whatnot, I think that it would go a long way. It would go a very, very, very long way. So I'm interested and I'm excited, and I can't wait to see where they go for Ahsoka Season 2. Guys, what do you think about these announcements, this news about Ahsoka Season 2? Let me know in the comments down below.